explore the beauty and the complexity of what we have.
Hi, my name is Chike Ukaegbu. I'm currently in New York City. I went to City College of New York where I studied biomedical engineering. I'm currently in math as well as entrepreneurship instructor at City College. I'm co-founded a nonprofit that empowers you through entrepreneurship and education, as well as have a few other endeavors that are all related to empowering youth and young people here and abroad. Now, the most significant I want to say was at age 17. I had graduated high school. I got accepted into an Ivy League school back in Nigeria. But my parents thought it was too far, so they decided, well, no, you're not going to go. You're just going to go to this other state school that is only 2 hours away, where your sisters are going to. And it was a devastating time for me because everyone gets excited about being accepted into Ivy League. But the thing was, from childhood, my parents cultivated um, um, this, I don't know what to call it, habit of actually giving us money to save, right? So by the time I graduated high school, I had saved a good amount of money. You know, the more you save, the more you got. So I looked at my savings and I'm like, well, I will be able to put myself through my first year of college. And while they do not want me to go, I think the best thing for me at age 17 was to head out to this Ivy League school. So I packed up my stuff and I ran away from home. And I was away for about 6, 7 months until, we went home on vacation. So I came home, I came back home. And, to cut the whole story short, I reconciled with my parents. Now, that was significant for me because I believe that every other thing that happened from then on stemmed from that decision to take the bulls by the horn, in pursuit of my own future. Now, I don't encourage young people to be disobedient to their parents, but at the time, I felt very strongly about that, and I went with that. And that is, for me, that was a life-changing moment that has practically helped define who I am today. And the other one would be coming to the United States to study. I was 19 and a half at the time. So I did 2 years of college back home, and then I came over here to start all over again. Of course, there were a lot of stuff that happened along the way, one of which was being accepted into the Colin Powell Leadership Fellowship. When I applied for the fellowship, it was on public policy and leadership. I didn't even know what public policies were. I had just come from Nigeria. I had only been here a year. But, as an international student, tuition costs were enormous. And six of us were in college at the same time. So it was definitely difficult. You needed as many scholarships as you could get. And in fact, that fellowship has put me on the course of what has become my life purpose. Because it was while I was doing research as a Colin Powell Fellow that I discovered my passion for what we call disconnected youth. I usually don't like that term disconnected, but that's what's used to describe youth who are out of school and out of work between ages 16 and 24. And at the time, I felt like this was an invisible audience or demographic that no one was really concerned about. Most of the resources were being channeled into 0 to 18, all the great stuff for kids, and we were forgetting this crucial population that needed help, needed attention, and needed people to champion their cause. So when I graduated, I decided to volunteer with a nonprofit in order to, understand this demographic some more and try as much as possible to do what I could, to help one or two of them. And it was just part of what hurt me the most was the fact that many of them looked like me. So I'm going to try to plug in some quotes that I had always used from childhood. The first one was, Shakespearean, men are masters of their own fate. The fault lies not in the skies, but in our own hands. I had always believed in that. I am a very spiritual person, so definitely believe in the spiritual being, but I also believe in the power of driving yourself. I believe in you taking the realms of or the control for what you want to shape your future to be. And once you believe in that and can find that peace within your decisions, then it's easy to actually act upon them. Yeah, there will be mistakes, but understanding who you are is extremely important. And I believe that that helps to drive you in making decisions. Now, sometimes the people around you may not be able to see what you see, but it's not for you to settle based on their dreams or perceptions of what they think is best for you, but it's about you proving to them that even in making this decision that makes you stand out or separates you from the crowd, that you have a vision that drives you, you have a vision of what you hope to achieve. And in the long run, they actually catch up with that. I have never really been a fan of traditional classrooms because I've always been an animated learner. I've always been a project-based learner outside of class. So give me a project and give me the liberty and freedom to create, and you will get the best out of me. But rules and set regulations tend to stifle my creativity. Now, I feel like part of the problem is not fully giving ourselves to understand the complexity of the issues that some of our constituents face. When you walk into a classroom, you have a variety of children. You have, even in the workplace, you have a variety of people with a variety of backgrounds, of experiences, of learning styles. And the problem we have is trying to figure out a one size fits all solution and try to force it down people's throats. So, what we need to do is start to explore the complexity, the beauty in the complexity of what we have, and understand that people have different ways. There are different ways to engage people, there are different ways to activate learning, there are different ways because of our backgrounds to get the best out of people. And when you tend to stifle that growth, then you limit the amount of growth, you limit the possibilities that can come out in an environment. There are boundless realms of possibilities when you let people blossom, I would say, the best way they can. I said creativity first because I feel like in order for anyone to create, there's a level of empowerment, there's a level of self confidence, there's a level of understanding who you are that's involved. And once you're able to get to that point where you understand who you are, you now become a little bit more malleable to attract in the positive type of change or what's needed in any environment. Now, if you're able to do that and you come out and you can find a job, you're not scared because you have what it takes to create for yourself, for your community. So definitely that critical thinking is extremely important. Um, we talk about social networking, but when we talk about that today, everyone thinks about social media. But I think we're gradually moving away from the importance of interaction, personal interaction, healthy personal relationships. We need to teach that as well. One of the greatest virtues that I have learned and I'm still honing as I go through this is kindness. And kindness to me involves being compassionate, being patient, understanding and empathy, as well as being genuine in what you do. Because I feel like it feeds the soul and creates the whole man. So gone are the days where as a child, when you did something for someone, you expected something in return. Today, it's more of the happiness, the joy I get from helping someone. Now, I have realized that sometimes, many times, down the line, even when you don't expect it, that same hand is able to reach back and help you. That same hand is able to pay it forward to help someone else. The fulfillment that comes from the service, I would say, for me is the ultimate. But then, most importantly, the ability for the other person to pay it forward. If we all can show kindness to some other person, the world would be so much better. And it sounds like a cliche, but I feel like it's true. I had no background at all in entrepreneurship. I just got to the point where I felt like it was extremely important for these young people because many of them were already doing it, just did not have the guidance. So I had to give myself to learning about it in order to be able to teach them. And honestly, I'm glad that I made the decisions I made at the time. There have been mistakes, which I call, learning processes, and I'm thankful for them, and I'm sure there will still be a little bit more moving on. But most importantly is understanding that those become learning experiences that I could look back on and tell somebody else, hey, these are the mistakes that I made. This is how I use that lesson to better the person that I am today.
Wow.